Welcome to the About to Break podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Hughes, and that sound that you're hearing, that's not the latest one-hit wonder on the radio. No, that's the sound of my high school band. I played guitar and I sang, and right now I'm sitting down with my buddy Shaun Hale, who was our former bass player, went on to tour in a bunch of hardcore bands, got all tatted up, and then gave all that up to become a hairstylist. This is the About to Break podcast.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
I wanted to do this episode for so long. I finally sat down with my buddy Shaun Hale. Shaun and I grew up together. We fell in love with music together. We played in a band together, and now I see him every couple weeks because Shaun is my hairstylist, and he's an amazing barber, an amazing stylist. We spent a good 30 minutes or so at the top of this podcast just reminiscing and remembering what life was like in high school and in junior high growing up and going to shows, and I had so much stinking fun. If you grew up going to shows in the 90s, I think you're going to really stinking love this podcast. I know I had a blast. If you'd like to hear a little bit more of the crazy music that we used to write and me reacting to hearing it again after like 20 years, I made a little video. You can go on Patreon and you can check that out. Thank you to everyone who's supporting the show on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us produce the show. We really, really appreciate it. And you get some additional content like that video and others. So thank you guys so much for supporting. We really, really appreciate it. Makes a huge difference. Next week, I'll be at the Magic Castle, March 26th through April 1st. And then on March 27th, I'm doing double duty that night. I'll be doing the late shows in the parlor at the castle, but at 7 o'clock next Tuesday night, if you're hearing this the week it comes out, March 27th, we have our next About to Break live show. That show is going to be fantastic. Michael Rayner is going to be there. He's so funny, you guys. I performed a set with him last night in LA, and I was dying. I was rolling on the floor. Information for that is on the website. It's totally free. Free show, free parking, free drinks. That's right. Free show, free parking, free drinks. Michael Rayner will be there, as well as my buddy Wes Barker, who's coming out. He's doing some video production. He's flying out from Canada, and he's going to hop in and do the show. That's going to be super fun on March 27th. But guys, that's it. That's all I got to say. I know you're going to love this episode. Again, big thank you to everyone who's supporting on Patreon and helping us produce this content. I've got some really exciting guests lined up that I can't wait to introduce you to in the weeks to follow. Also, I do have some public shows in the works that I'm really excited about, and some outside of the state of California. So stay tuned for that. I'll be announcing those tour dates and more information coming up soon. But sit back, relax, and enjoy this wonderful conversation with one of my favorite people, my buddy Shaun Hale. Hey everybody, welcome to About to Break. I'm your host Taylor Hughes, and I am coming to you right now from the world. This is awkward. I'm going to keep it in. I'm coming to you now from the world Shed-Quarters, sitting with my good buddy Shaun Hale.
Hello, everybody.
And we are, what are we drinking today, Shaun?
Tiny regular Cokes.
Regular Cokes.
Original.
I'm holding it up to the microphone like people can see.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's a tiny Coke in a bottle. Pretty nostalgic. And I thought it'd be perfect because Shaun and I have known each other for how stinking long, man? Like 7th grade or something? Earlier than that?
7th grade.
It was probably, I think it was 7th.
It was 7th. I don't want to say how long ago that was.
Yeah, that was like 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Shaun and I are doing this podcast our freshman year of high school.
Definitely.
We go to San Dimas High School with Bill and Ted. We're off to a great start.
Yes.
Shaun and I met when we were in 7th grade. We met in like church youth group, and both loved music.
Definitely.
And I have to tell you this right out the gate, man. I told Katie yesterday, because I told her we were going to be recording and was all excited. And I said, this is absolute truth, I credit you for like 80% of my love of music.
Really?
Because I always enjoyed music.
Right.
But like before I met you, the only concert I had ever been to was New Kids on the Block and wait for it, Debbie Gibson.
Yes. Together or separate?
Separate concerts. And the great thing is at the Debbie Gibson concert, I met Allyssa Milano in the parking lot.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I was like 8 or something.
Yeah.
I was like, Allyssa Milano. It's like Who's the Boss was on.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like the final season. She was maturing as a young lady.
And you were admiring.
I said, I think you're amazing, and she kissed me on the cheek.
Dang.
And I was like, that was
great.
It. Yeah, that was it. But
never to see her again.
Yeah, never again. But then I met the fetchy Mrs. Hughes, and it all worked out fantastically.
Life changes.
It's true. But here's the thing: is that Shaun, when he and I met, you were like a different level of music fan than I was. Like I wasn't even aware that kids our age went to concerts. And by 7th grade, how many concerts had you already been to?
Probably 7th grade. Probably about 6 or 7, I would say. Maybe even more.
And your mama raised you right. You grew up on like
metal, 80s metal.
Give us, for those who are listening who don't know, give us some of the names of the bands.
Def Leppard.
11-year-old Shaun was going to see.
10 years old. Def Leppard.
10 years old.
First concert. Bon Jovi, Extreme, Skid Row.
Yes, baby.
Let's see. Typo Negative, Queensryche.
Dude, this is what you're ingesting as an adolescent.
This is what my mom was taking me to. But I couldn't go to Motley Crue. Which
Lots
I really
of videos of
to.
ladies like on the hoods of cars.
Yes, and other inappropriate things that a 10-year-old probably shouldn't be exposed to.
You're like, oh, that's where I learned about life was on the iMag at the Bon Jovi concert.
Exactly. Program. Bon Jovi program.
Yeah.
Life's manual.
So Shaun and I met, and we started hanging out. We both were huge Weezer fans.
Yes, definitely. That's once I discovered my own taste in music, not just what my mom told me to listen to.
I love that for you, rebelling wasn't listening to like Bon Jovi. It was listening to Weezer. You're like, Mom, you can't tell me what to do. Ooh, wee, ooh.
I'm gonna listen to this nerdy pop rock. Forget Ozzy Osbourne biting the heads off bats.
We both were learning guitar at the time.
Yes.
We both did not know how to play guitar.
No,
really.
it was painful.
And then
for our parents.
Yeah. And then we well, before we get into the band stuff, but before then, Shaun took me to see, I think I call this my first real concert, was live.
Oh, yeah.
That was it, right? It was live. And then I think very shortly after that, we saw No Doubt.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So that live concert was live PJ Harvey and Big Audio Dynamite, which is Mick Jones from The Clash.
That's right. And that was when that was the first time I saw PJ Harvey live, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah. It was
something's going on.
Something's different.
Something's a little different.
The reason why Big Audio Dynamite played was because Veruca Salt was supposed to play, but the girl gave herself whiplash headbanging.
I forgot about that. What was the big Veruca Salt song?
Seether.
Yeah, and then what was the one? What is that tune?
Oh,
that's not a
no.
Veruca
That's a Cannonball, right?
Oh yeah,
by is that the Breeders?
Oh my goodness, this is gonna drive us nuts.
Yeah,
someone who's listening. Actually, no one knows.
Right, we're just the only nerds.
So we went to see live, and I remember just watching them perform and going, this is theater.
Yeah, this is what I want to do.
I'd always loved music, but I grew up listening, like my dad would drive me in the car and we would listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan and we would listen to B.B. King and put on the Texas Flood album with Stevie Ray, and like, it was just like, this is great. But I never experienced watching it live. It was so different.
Well, way different, but you have way more credibility to me now.
Why?
Listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan and B.B. King, because I didn't get exposure to that till I was obviously around you, but then like later in my like late 20s, I started discovering more of that stuff. And
oh yeah,
I'm like, why didn't I learn to play like that?
My dad will listen to this for sure, but my dad will still probably once a week or once every 2 weeks will call me and say, listen to this, and then play me a song.
Over the phone?
Over the phone. And it's great. Like, I learn about a lot of cool music because of my pops, but he's still like, he's always been that guy who's like, show me appreciation for music.
Yep.
And then Shaun, you're the dude who like told me you can actually go see these guys live. And I was like, what?
Mind blown.
I don't know why I never thought of that. Like, I think because the only concerts I had been to were like teeny bopper bands.
Right. And who took you to that?
My dad took me.
Okay.
Took me and my sister. Yeah, my sister was older, so she was always like...
It was kind of her music taste and you just kind of
Yeah.
went with
I mean,
it.
I got lost in Debbie Gibson's eyes as well, but it wasn't.
Who hasn't?
Who has not? I remember my sister got in big trouble once because on the Debbie Gibson album, she had like a torn knee on her pants and she drew a happy face on her knee.
Yeah.
And my sister drew a happy face on her knee and my mom was like, "You are not some pop star." I was like, "Oh, that's great."
Oh, man.
Rebellion was real
we had,
in the Hughes house.
We had a good pop phase, though. I mean, growing up, I'm not going to lie. I had a Paula Abdul poster on my wall at one point.
Oh, yeah.
So with a a leopard print glove.
Amazing.
So good.
So Shaun, like I would go to his house and dude, we would just hang out and we did the two things I remember us doing constantly were either you would be like, dude, listen to this, and you would play me a new album that came out. Or our big thing was this was before like TiVo and DVR.
Yes.
And so we would VHS record like Letterman and also the Jay Leno on the Tonight Show.
120 minutes on MTV.
Yep. And I know we would like try to synchronize sometimes, like, okay, I'm going to record Leno.
Yeah.
You're going to record Letterman, and you had MTV and I didn't at the time. So like, then we would meet up and we'd like watch on VHS. You would have like VHS tapes full of just the musical acts on Letterman.
I still have some.
Oh, dude, it was the best, man.
I'd like to think that we invented YouTube, but never got the credit.
That was YouTube. Back in the day, YouTube was just passing VHS tapes
Right.
around. And it would be like, dude, did you see? Because this was not, again, yeah, this is before YouTube. You couldn't on-demand stuff. So if you missed Weezer on Letterman, which was great, when they would say It Ain't So.
Perfect.
Oh, my goodness. Perfection to this day.
Yeah, still have that video.
I can close my eyes and like picture the
Visualize
whole
it.
thing. I love it.
You can actually pull it up on YouTube.
I know. Oh,
So there's no point in me having the tape still.
There's something about having to do the tracking that just made it more real. So we would do that, and then like it was just the best. Like I could not wait to go to your house to watch.
Yeah.
We would watch all the shows, man.
And then try to figure out how they played those songs.
Because it didn't take us very long until we were like, well, we love music. We can make it.
Right. Basically.
We started a band, the very first band that we played in.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Seventh Seal? Yes. Yeah.
It was like very depressing. This was like emo was new, right? I mean, what it would be, it was new to us.
Yeah, I don't even know if the term emo was around back then. Like when we started Seventh Seal,
there was no dashboard,
right? So I mean, this was like we were listening to like Silverchair and like Bush, like more of that '90s, like alternative, maybe border on the grunge.
Yeah, there was that weird mix of alternative.
It was depressing.
Yeah, but like '90s, like '90s pop, like '90s rock was very like '90s alternative was very like Gin Blossoms, and like very very upbeat kind of
totally.
Thinking, who am I thinking of?
What song? What are you thinking?
Guy
of?
had a big nose. The lead singer had like a massive nose. That's awful, but that's right. The only disc. It was not Gin Blossoms.
Let's see.
Who was the guy? He was there. He I had like '90s like.
Oh, are you thinking?
It was either '90s.
Are you thinking of Cumbersome? 7 Mary 3? Is that what you're thinking?
Wait, that's not who I was thinking of.
No.
Okay. But that was a good one.
That was like the voice you did. It was like the Creed before Creed.
that like every '90s band. And to this day, every Christian music artist sounds like this.
Yep.
I'm gonna make a song. Doom. You picture him dressed as a lumberjack, just being
pretty
like,
much.
Yeah.
That's that Nickelback.
Crud. What is the? Why can't I even think of a song? We listen to them so much.
Is a band we listened to a lot?
We listen to this band a lot.
That was like pop?
They were not poppy. They were like, forget it. It's driving me nuts.
Oh, Collective Soul.
Yes.
I know.
Yes. Why was it like total mind blank? I couldn't.
I'm just like trying to think. I'm like,
you got big nose.
At first I thought you. Yeah.
What's this?
Yeah. Shine. That was that song. Shine.
Whoa, heaven, let your light shine there.
Yep. Oh man,
totally.
I would totally blame that band for me thinking I could grow my hair long. because they had curly hair
Both
and
of
it
us,
was long.
Both of us, our hair didn't grow long when we tried to. It just grew out.
Yeah, like I kind of get like a triangle.
Kind of had that like any character that Mike Myers has ever done, where it's like
Pretty much.
bob haircut.
Yep.
Yeah. Will Ferrell and Jimmy Fallon doing tight pants, like
Yes.
that kind of hair. Not a good thing. But we were listening to. I mean, that was like a lot of the music was that kind of era. But then there was bands like Silverchair that were like a little more serious,
Right.
And I love that our first band, we're in 7th grade. And it was like, well, I know guitar, and you're like, well, I'll play bass.
Yeah. And then you had a friend at school.
From school, yeah.
And then he had a friend from church.
Yeah. And
And that was the band.
that was the band. That's all you needed, man. We're like, there's 4 of us. We're officially a band.
Yep.
And we would write these really like, they were dark, all minor chords, lots of notes that clashed.
Yes, and terrible amps, crate amps.
We had a crate amp and we had a PV amp.
Yeah.
These are you know why you never heard of them? Because you shouldn't. They're
No self-respecting musician
No.
has these amps.
But watch in like 3 years, it'll become cool.
They'll be cool.
Everyone will be like, "Oh, dude, hey, you got a Carvin bass?"
Oh man, Carvin. I think they're still around.
I think they are.
Somewhere.
I think they could. Would they change their name to something? Carvin just changed their name, I think, to Kegel. That's the thing.
That's
never
something
mind.
else. Yeah, we'll skip that part.
So yeah, our first band was a little. I think it was a little too.
I think we were trying to be like way more dramatic for our age.
Yeah, way more mature. But we were listening to Silverchair on repeat.
Do you remember though? We played the Monrovia High School talent show.
Yes, and here's what I remember about that is we had these crappy little crate amps, like 10-watt amps that we bought. They like came with the guitar kit at Guitar Center. It was like $150 for the guitar and the amp. But we're like, we can't play on this massive stage with these amps, so we borrowed. Remember, the drummer had a friend, like an old man friend, like the kind of friend that you only have in like a movie where it's like, why is this old man hanging around with this kid, but he's got cool stuff. So he had like a stack, like a Marshall stack. And so what we did is we split the stack and we plugged each of our guitar amps
into the speakers of the. Which,
how do we even do that? Because none of us were in high school.
No, I think we were. Were we freshmen, or was it
fresh? I feel like we were still in 8th grade because it was like 7th, 8th grade was that band.
Oh, crap.
I think that one of the guys.
I feel like maybe
his sister went to that school and they were like, "We need more acts," and he's like, "We'll do it."
Yeah. Volunteered us for our big debut.
Here's what I love, and this could be a good takeaway from this: is that we grew up in a time period where like there wasn't accessibility. Like you couldn't record your own album. You know, you had to go somewhere to do it.
In the studio.
In the studio. There was no Facebook. So, like, literally, it was like... Flyers. Everything was flyers. Black and white flyers. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it was like, we don't have money to photocopy. So, you literally hand wrote, like, I can do 50.
Yeah. I'll do this many. You do that many. Hand them out to people at school.
We were like... I remember my dad made us a wooden stamp.
Yes.
For the band, and like we would stamp it and then stamp it onto like Avery name tag labels, and those were our stickers.
Yep. Yeah, you know, don't get them wet. That's
These are indoor
stickers only.
Indoor merch only, guys. Only indoor merch. But dude, it was like we were talking about this at lunch. It's like there was like this innocence to this time, but also like it was like a little more underground. Everything. You had to know somebody who knew about a show. It would pass out flyers. Do you remember the Mexican dude?
Yeah.
That sounds very offensive.
I know.
To say.
Yeah.
I hate saying.
But that's what he went by. That's what he went by. Name. We didn't call him that.
We did not call him that.
But it was a hotline you could call.
And the hotline was literally his pager.
Yeah.
So the guy had a pager
with voicemail.
With a voicemail. Do you still remember the number?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't at all.
I don't either. But like I
just remember like, hey, this is the Mexican dude, and this weekend,
this dude would be like, I think on Wednesdays or Thursdays, he would like update his voicemail. He would say like, this week, you know, in Monrovia at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, there's this band playing, and then you know, he would like, you know, in Pasadena in the basement of Paznaz Church. Yep. These spivvies are playing with
Javelina Rail
Company. Dude, they were great.
Yeah, those were the days. It's so much different than shows now.
Yeah, and what was crazy is back then everything was either a free show or maybe like $3.
Right.
We would go to No Future Cafe in Pasadena, which is
$3.
which is where I asked the fetching Mrs. Hughes to be my girlfriend.
There you go.
Ironically, we did have a future.
Yeah.
I never thought about that when I was like,
That's
since we're here at No Future, that was about you and me becoming Adam. And then I talked like the guy from Collect as well.
I was like, wow. I didn't know your voice was that deep then.
But we would go, there would be all these venues that you would go to. I remember No Future was $3. I don't even know, what was it like a church or it was something during the week? It was like a rec room for a church.
I think it was their youth group room, to be honest.
But they didn't ever talk about church. It wasn't ever, it was literally like Friday night, it was on. It was No Future Cafe.
It was just cool because it was like the church providing a place, like just like a safe place to hang out without like they weren't preaching at people or anything.
Yeah, it was all the things you want it to be.
Right. And it's just a community.
And it was like $3.
And
you got all the free ice mochas.
They hopped us up on caffeine.
Dude, it was
at a
so
really
good.
young age.
And it was rad. I just remember like, where else can you go and like get a mug with like a coffee in it as a kid?
Right.
But dude, it was like we're like 12 or 13 going to No Future Cafe.
Parents drop us off.
We'd be like, drop us off at 5:30. We're going to get a burger beforehand at Tops.
Yep.
And then we'd go to No Future.
Pick us up
at like 10:30, something like that.
10.
And it was the best, man. It was like
bands.
3 bands, free drinks and $3.
Remember, you get paid $1 after 10.
Yeah.
People, they'd ask you what band are you here to see?
Yeah. If you get booked, then it's like the first 10 people, that money goes to No Future.
Right.
And then you would get, I remember one time we made like $63.
Yeah,
we were like,
pumped.
dude.
We're like, we sold this room out.
We sold it out. That was our spot, man.
Yeah.
No Future was like,
definitely.
That was like our home club.
I say that, yeah. I say we played there at least once a month.
Oh, yeah. It was so
and then
good.
we were always kind of the like standby if someone would drop off.
Yeah, it'd be like,
Aaron
push our
would
wagon,
call us.
got a real gig.
Yeah.
We're there.
We'll do it. Hey, we had played with Ozma there, which was
did.
cool.
I remember when we first played with Ozma, because Ozma is a band who's they're playing again now.
Yeah, they're back
and
together.
They're insanely good, but they have a very Weezer-esque vibe, even more so back then.
Yes.
So I remember I think they were sound checking with a Weezer song, and it sounded just like Weezer.
Exactly like Weezer.
And back then there was no backstage in this venue. It was literally like a black curtain covered the emergency exits, real safe like.
Yep, and that's where you load in from. So the emergency
you'd be in
exit
the alley
is blocked.
like out in the cold, setting up, you'd have your whole drum kit set up with your cymbals on it and your amps, and then you'd wheel in and you have like 5 minutes to plug in.
Yep.
No sound check. You just start playing.
Just go.
Yeah. And I remember we were staying in the alley back behind No Future, and we heard Ozma playing, and we were like, we swore it was Weezer.
Yeah.
We were like, dude, guys, we've made it. They did a surprise show.
Somehow we're playing this bill.
Playing this bill with Weezer, and it was not, but it was still pretty great.
Do you remember? I asked them. I said, "How do you write songs that sound like Weezer?" And he said, "We just play Weezer songs backwards."
Yes. It's like, that song's G, D, E minor, C. We play it C, E minor, D, G.
Yep.
And it works.
I was like, oh, I never thought about that.
We were like, brilliant. These guys are way ahead of their time. The best part is he wasn't offended. Like, you would think he'd be like, what?
Yeah.
How dare you? And he's like, bro,
yeah,
let me let you in on the secret sauce.
Come to find out, once you learn a little bit more about music, most songs have the same chords in them.
Oh yes, yeah. Especially if you want to write a worship song, like for a church.
Well, yeah, that's definitely.
You just pick like some words like fire and wind. A lot of fire and wind in worship music. Rain,
but REI.
Yes, yeah. You always want to use the old English spelling. Yes. Yeah,
yeah. You don't want to. It makes it better. Like,
it does.
It's more authentic.
It's more holy, I think.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
It's like King James.
Yeah, it's like the King James. So we started playing, man, and it was fun. Like, I feel like from 7th grade to like 11th or 12th grade, it was literally every weekend.
Yes.
Thursday to Sunday, we were either at a show or performing a show.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was so stinking fun.
So fun. But the dumbest part was None of us had a license, though. We're like the only band getting dropped off by our parents
That's
and
right.
seniors in high school.
Yeah. Oh, and even Munch, our drummer, didn't have a
He was
license.
older than us.
He was like
at least.
He was like 2 years older,
Yeah.
but he seems so much older.
Yeah, he was like
Sorry
an
if you're
old
listening
man.
to this, Munch.
Yeah, we love you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we love you. We had so many band practices canceled because his stepdad got mad at us.
You know the famous one? All right, Big Mouth. No practice here anymore.
We used to see. That's the other thing too. Is like I meet these young guys now who like have practice studios
Right,
and
like,
they're like renting
we
a
pay for
space in North
24-hour
Hollywood.
space.
Yeah, and thinking we were like nomads. We changed like we literally. I remember our practice space was at Ryan Munchler's house in Glendora
In the
in the garage, and it was great. We were set up in there. We like just made ourselves comfy, and then like one day. Ryan's dad, Tom, was like, "Do you do your homework?" And he's like, "Wasn't it over homework or something, or taking out the garbage,
It was either
or
homework or
something lame?"
chores. One
it
of the
was
two.
something like just a very nominal thing, and he was like, "Come on, man!" And Tom goes, "All right, Big Mouth, that's it. No more practice here." And we literally were like, powered down.
And then just slowly unpack because we're all scared.
That was always the thing too. Like, where are we going to practice?
Yeah.
Oh, we can't practice at my house. My mom has this going on. Or we one time for a season we cleared out my basement,
Oh,
my mom's house. It was it was the dingiest. Like, I mean, very swampy.
yeah. Oh.
by the hot water heater.
Yeah.
It's like probably not well ventilated.
No, we probably breathed in some asbestos or something.
Yeah. Well, we grew up in the era where it's like everything that around us caused cancer. We just
Yeah.
didn't have signs that said it yet. Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah. So then we would go practice down there. But man, it was good times.
It's fun.
Dude.
It's just like, I don't know. It's weird to think like, what would I have even done if
I
that's
know.
what we didn't do?
Dude, that was. I mean, and then even when because Katie and I started dating when I was 15 years old.
Right.
She would come to every show. She would
Remember,
write our set list.
Remember, she drove us sometimes because she was smart and
she
had a license.
And she had a station wagon.
Yeah.
An old celebrity station
Fit our
wagon.
equipment in it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And Katie would write out, I remember she would write out our set list, and it was different every time. We're just like, whatever. Just,
Okay.
Here's
Whatever you think.
You know what I was impressed by us, and I'll tell you this. We haven't even told anybody the name of the band.
Yes, I know.
Thank God that this was long enough ago that YouTube, like, we're not on YouTube.
Yes.
You can't find us. You got to really, you still have to know someone who has a physical tape or CD to get it.
Which I actually do. Have both.
Dude, you know what I should do is I should put a song on, like, Patreon.
Oh,
for like,
yes. That'd be awesome. Do it.
So it's
Oh
so
my
bad.
gosh.
But our band name is funny because our band name came, we all grew up going to church, and we were at church one day and we're like, we're starting a band. And this was literally, it was like, all right, we need a name. And
Yep.
we were walking through the hall. And we saw a sign. What did the sign say, Shaun?
VBS.
You know, like Vacation Bible School. And we're like, VBS, that's a good name.
Yep. Perfect. We literally, it was a sign from God.
It was literally.
This is what your band will be called.
Right? And then that was just it. We never once had a meeting like, is this a good idea?
Nope.
This was before anyone cared about really marketing.
Yeah. Like hindsight, you're like,
Right.
why?
Right. Like nowadays there's like the 2-step encryption on Instagram where they're like, are you sure you want to call
Right.
yourself VBS?
And then it sucks because we actually, I not to be,
Oh, it's okay.
I think for a local band, we had a pretty like solid run and following.
Oh, dude,
So it's-
yeah.
Like you can't change your name
You can't. Then
because
this is it.
because it, like you said, there's no Facebook to be like VBS is now becoming
Right.
like badass, like
Right.
rockers. I don't know, something stupid, but like we. If they saw a different name on the flyer, they wouldn't know
Like,
it was
oh,
us.
I guess it's not. And but it is funny to me that because we had several band meetings about a lot of stuff.
Yes,
But we never once, I don't think ever went.
the name was never
Is the-
like. Should we call it something else?
None of us were like, if we really want to make it
And then-
big.
But it was good because we really played it up. I mean,
Oh, dude,
we made a flannel graph banner.
We did. Do you still have that somewhere?
I don't have it, but I have a
Oh.
picture of it.
We had a flannel graph banner, A flannel graph. If you didn't grow up in church, flannel graph is what they would teach you with, like in Sunday school.
When you were little. Like
tiny.
I never experienced flannel graph because I didn't go to church when I was young.
Yeah.
I only started in junior high, but they explained it to me.
Like a big piece of felt, and then like they'd want to do like 2-dimensional like storytelling. So imagine like paper dolls cut out of felt so they would stick to the backdrop. So they'd always be like, oh, let's tell a story of Jesus. And they can't like put him in the tomb because it's 2-dimensional. So they just slap a big rock on him.
Yeah, just on top of him.
Jesus is waving. So we thought, why don't we make our big banner? We'd play with all these punk bands. They had these big vinyl banners, printed or canvas, someone hand painted. We're like, we're going to get a flannel one.
Yeah.
And make
it's going to be so cool.
And it was figures of the band playing the drums and stuff. Oh, fantastic. I love us. I miss us.
I know. It was good times. And
I would go see us today.
I think that there'd be a market for us today.
You know, it is funny because we were at a very interesting time developmentally. You know, we were growing up as children. We grew up in the church. So at the time, we were a lot more like
naive or
but also very like I feel like every song was a little preachy. Like sneakily preachy.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Trying to
gotta save some souls.
Gotta save some souls with rock and roll.
If rock can't save souls, nothing can.
Yeah, nothing can.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was, and at the time, I don't think we saw like how kind of corny that was.
Yes,
and I almost think we felt like we had to do that.
Yeah, like you grew up being told that like everything you do is so important, and we put so much weight on.
Yeah, all these eyes are on you.
Yeah, and if you're not responsible with this opportunity, and it's just like, dude, if we would have just been like, hey, it's fun to play music,
right?
Like that was some of the best stuff. Like we had a song about a lizard.
Yeah, Lupe,
and
that was like kind of a hit. As sad as that is,
people would shout it out. Play Lupe.
Our biggest song is about an iguana.
See, it's funny because our guitar player, Steve, wrote this song, and it sounds like he's singing about a lady.
Right.
And how beautiful her eyes are and her skin. And then it gets more and more descriptive, and you start to realize he's singing about an iguana.
Yes. It's the ultimate love song.
Yeah. This is also the time, for those of you who didn't live through this or don't remember this is the time where every band had a hype man for a time period.
There was always that one friend that like
our friend Larry.
Yep. He was like the fifth member. He
didn't play any instrument. He'd just come up and dance.
It was the best. It was awesome.
Always wearing some like plaid golf pants and
or like a blazer and a tie.
Guys, this is hardcore. I'm talking about the time when we wanted to be so this is before you could go to Hot Topic and buy an ironic shirt.
Yes.
We would go to thrift stores and hunt for like, the local 5K from Des Moines, Iowa. That's going to be my new band shirt.
Yep. And you look for like the little like polo shirts with like the alligator, like the little Lacoste.
Yep. And if you wanted to be really hardcore, you would walk into a bowling alley, pay to borrow some bowling shoes, and then leave your shoes there and walk out with those bowling shoes.
That's right. So bad.
Thug life chose us.
Yep. Now you can just buy shoes that look like bowling shoes, apparently. But back then...
Oh my goodness, we've spent like 30 minutes talking about old times with the band, but I love that.
Some of the best years of my life, I'm not going to lie.
I'm telling you, man, I really do. I miss that innocence of just like, where are we going to go tonight? And like anything is possible. It's like, we're going to go. And there was all these clubs that, we talked about this too, that nowadays the music scene is so different because even like starting bands are performing venues where it's like $20, $30 a ticket.
Yeah.
I don't know how kids can afford to like.
Well, and you have to like sell tickets to play there. It was never like that. I mean, we didn't really make money, but
no, but there was
it wasn't about the money, man.
Yeah. LA, this is the thing that people don't realize too, is LA is a pay to play city now. Like, you go to the Roxy and they go, oh, you're hitting big time because you're playing the Whiskey or the Key Club or whatever it is. And most of those venues are like, you can play if you can sell 100 tickets. And if you don't, here's what's really sad is you go see some of those bands, they do a killer show, and then you find out they had to pay the venue because they didn't sell enough tickets. I know you had that happen a couple times, right? With some other...
Oh, yeah, with other bands I've been in.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of the About to Break podcast. 3 quick ways that you can help us out here at About to Break. The first one is to go on iTunes and leave us a review. If you enjoy the program, please leave us a 5-star review. Big thank you to everyone who's already done that. If you haven't yet, please jump over to iTunes. You'll need your iTunes account information. But you can click on the podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Just leave us a 1 or 2 sentence little blurb there. Let people know what you like about it. That helps us out huge. Second way you can help us at About to Break is by becoming a producer. Our goal is to have 1,000 people giving at least $1 a month to help offset the cost of producing these shows. And it does take time. And it is a passion project. I will continue putting these out for free because I think it's a helpful conversation. But anything you can do to help us out by producing the show would be awesome. Go over to abouttobreakpodcast.com, click on Become a Producer, and see what that's all about. Last thing that you can do, and this one is also a real simple way of making a difference, is just sharing the podcast. All right, when you see it out there on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, go ahead and follow along and then share it with your friends. Let someone else know how much you liked it because it sure does make a difference. All right, back to the program. I wanted to do this podcast for a while. One, because I just wanted to talk about old times with Shaun. But Shaun is this interesting dynamic because he's like the king of rock and roll, like knows so much about music and is like, he's the guy, Shaun, you're the dude that if I ever got on a game show and I needed a bit of rock trivia, I would call you because you would know.
I would hope so.
Collective Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shaun, is this the correct answer? Yeah. But then Shaun also, getting into college, you took the road of saying like, look, my career, I'm going to go into like hairstyling and become a stylist and a barber and all this stuff. And it to most people would seem like such a drastic change from rock and roll, hardcore. Like you're playing in hardcore bands in college, and you're touring and doing these massive festivals, and then you're going to beauty school during the day.
Right.
I want to get into some of that, like, because this isn't just the story of our old band from high school. This is the Shaun Hale episode. So, when did you decide that like hairstyling or haircutting was something that you wanted to do as a career?
Well, it's not something I ever wanted to do, but so out of high school, I needed a job.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, her parents owned a salon and supply, and
over in San Dimas, right?
Yeah, in San Dimas, California, next to Bill and Ted. And
yes.
And so they hired me as the receptionist, and they would allow me to leave and go on tour because no other job is going to do that.
You got it. Those are the best kind of jobs when you have like an inn or it's like a family friend.
Right. It's like, okay, yeah, you can work here in between tour. I mean, not like I was touring like 300 days a year, but
no, but enough of where you're like, okay, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks.
Right. Exactly. And so, but then when the band, I worked there for like 4 years. And so then when that band broke up, I didn't know what I was going to do because I basically dropped out of college to tour.
Yeah, and you like put all this focus in on the band and like that's one thing that's challenging too in music is like you've got to kind of give it your all, but then you don't know what's going to click, what's going to take off, and it's that moment where you're like 4 years I put into this project that doesn't exist anymore.
Right. And now what?
Yeah. So what'd you do, man?
And so I actually wanted to go to Bible college. So I went and applied at a Bible college and had the meeting with the admissions counselor, and
they're like, do you know what a flannel graph is?
Yeah.
You said yes.
I was like, I actually have one. Let me show
with
you.
With my image.
Yeah. And then I had been in like the punk and hardcore scene. I had started getting tattooed, and not heavily at that time. And the school said, well, just so you know, like if you come here, you can't get tattooed anymore. Like
you're like, but I'm already tattooed.
You're right. I was like, but I already have them. and in my head, I was like, and I'm not gonna live on campus, so how would you even know? And
what's funny is like, were they like, it's okay that you already have them,
right?
But just from now on,
from now, just while you're here, because people that like, you know, sponsor the school, like they don't really agree with that.
Oh, so they're like, these are his testimony tattoos.
Right,
Like,
right, probably.
He has a past.
Yes.
But now he's doing well.
Right. And and I honestly like looked at him and I was like, well, I can't make that guarantee.
Yeah.
So I don't really think this school's for me.
Yeah.
And I left. And then I went back, I went to work the next day and I was like bummed and didn't know what to do. Cause I thought I was going to go to school to like be a worship pastor or something like that. And the girls that I worked with at the salon, they were just like, you should just cut hair. You can have tattoos. You could leave to go on tour. And I was like, really? You can? And I was like, but I don't really know. Like, I don't even comb my own hair. Like, but I don't know. For whatever reason, they bugged me. And
you're like, oh, well, I could do that.
Yeah. So I decided to just give beauty school a shot. And yeah, but like first month in, I mean, it was frustrating, but I enjoyed being there. And my family wasn't super supportive of it. So like I was a little pissed to just be like, you know what? Because I had a hard time at first, but I was like, I'm going to finish it. Just to show them.
Family wasn't, they were just like, this is not.
Well, it was like, you know,
like
when you get the question, like, I've never like talked about going to school to cut hair. So I said, I'm going to go to beauty school. And then
and your mom, rock and roll mom.
Yeah.
Is like,
well, and then my grandparents, I get the question, is there anything else you need to tell us?
Yeah.
Like, you haven't brought many girlfriends around. Like, and I'm like, because back then, you know, it's taboo.
Yeah, right. This wasn't during a time period where like, which is crazy because it wasn't that long ago.
No, it's like dumb that stereotype. I mean, it's still kind of around, but
right.
You know, it's weird. It's dumb. But I mean, my grandparents are very old school, so whatever. But
I liked your grandparents because they always had Cheez-Its.
Well, yeah.
Always had Cheez-Its.
Always.
In the house,
they were the snack house for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're cool. And you know, once I went and finished, like everyone was supportive of it. They saw that it was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So even though there's definitely times where I didn't want to do it, still a job.
Yeah. It is funny when like you get that from people that you respect in a lot of ways, but then they're like, okay, you can cut hair as long as you're not gay.
Right. just tell us you like girls.
If you like girls, we're okay with it. I like girls. There's lots of girls at beauty school.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay. But also that's really repressive.
Yeah. Seriously. But that was, you know, that question came up a lot, which is like so dumb. And then I would just be like, you do realize there's 250 girls and 7 guys.
Right.
Like,
it's like,
those are like pretty good odds.
I've always told friends, like, I mean, this is years ago, like friends who are straight that couldn't get a date. And I was like, get a job at Disneyland.
Dude, for sure.
There are so many ladies working at Disneyland. Yep.
Cute girls at Disneyland. Happy girls. They're probably actually really miserable. They just they get paid to be happy.
I gotta believe. I know that they own everything and all that, but I still gotta believe in Disneyland for a minute.
There has to be that.
I need it.
Okay.
Yeah. If I found out that like Walmart bought Disney, I'd be like, no.
No, well, Disney would just buy Walmart at this point.
True.
They're pretty much just buying everything.
I know. My Maddie, my 12-year-old, is obsessed with Disney facts and theories, and every day she's like she's telling me literally every day new things that Disney has purchased.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Those are the sad facts.
Like Disney now owns like a good percentage of Fox Animation, which is The Simpsons and all that. That's crazy.
Right.
And they own like every superhero except for 3.
So wait, so what happens to The Simpsons at Universal Studios?
I think Universal owns the other part of it. So that's
going to stay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know that they're
buying... What about the Duff beer? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I know that they're buying a portion of Fox.
Wow.
But not buying the sports portion, so that way it's not a monopoly.
Ah, it is weird when you look at the stats of like, I think all media is owned by like 7 companies worldwide, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to go down.
We don't have to go. Okay, back to the haircut. We'll go back to this.
Yeah, we won't go down conspiracy theory road.
You're in this weird dichotomy where it's like I am doing hardcore and punk and rock music, And then I'm going to beauty school
during the day. Yeah. Playing in a metalcore band on the weekends, going on tours here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird, but it's a weird dichotomy, but at the same time, there was this shift in like the Orange County hardcore scene where a lot of the hardcore kids like morphed out of wearing like baggy pants and stuff and like became this new term fashion core.
Fashion core
became the thing where the bands would wear like kind of like slacks and like dress shirts and like
you're no longer like, just I'm gonna wear the baggy pants and the shirt of the band I'm going to see.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like so I was gonna have nice hair and almost like, you know, kind of like how like everything comes back around. So it's like David Bowie was like gender bender and a lot of the 80s hair metal bands were doing that. And then that kind of went away in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then in the early 2000s, like there was like bands like 18 Visions that would come out and they would be like, they'd wear nail polish and like eyeliner. And, you know, there was this Christian metal band, Zayo.
Yeah.
They did an album where they were all kind of glammed out and it was like, we can't put this in the Christian bookstore. The drummer has his arm up and he has a pinup girl tattooed on it. Fully clothed.
Now, if he got that before, we'd have him do it.
Right,
then we show that we're winning the souls.
But he was already saved, and he got this girl tattooed on his arm. But you know, not even in a seductive pose or anything. Not naked. Just like a girl. Yeah. Which is like, hey man, like, what's the big deal? It's like you know, he's into like 1950s stuff. It's not like he's like, I don't know.
It's funny to me. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, that it's like every generation grows up rebelling against the previous generation.
Yes.
And then repressing the next generation.
Right.
Like in the 40s, like the people that were like swinging in like the 30s and 40s were the same, like the ones that were the rebels that were going out dancing are the same ones who in the 50s were having kids and being like, now you don't do this and that.
That's the nuclear family, just like...
Right?
Yep, mom and dad, mom cooks, dad works.
And then those kids, I mean, freaking Elvis and like Buddy Holly and like they just busting through like, we're not going to be like our parents were, which is what their parents were when they were kids.
Right.
And then...
But their parents never talked about that.
Right? And then...
That was the hidden...
Because you got to rebel, then you grow up and you settle down.
Right.
And then you have to repress the next shit and literally regurgitate the same thing. It's so crazy.
I never even thought about it.
Isn't that weird? Because then like in the 50s, those same people that were like Elvis then are like going to like the Stones and stuff and being like, no, that's just wrong. Look how he's shaking his hips. Yeah. What about Elvis?
Yeah.
He invented the hip shake.
Look at their long hair.
Right?
Touching their collars.
But isn't that, it's wild that like, I mean, you even go, I travel a lot throughout the country and a lot in the Midwest, but also in like Texas, big time. You see like these generations of kids who rebelled against like the old stuff and then just turn around and teach that to their kids because that's what they know. That's what parents are.
Right.
It's weird, man.
I know. Don't you ever find it weird that your parents never did anything wrong growing up?
Never.
To you, I mean.
Right. But then now that I'm getting older, I've heard some stories from my dad. And I'm like, well, Dad.
You're like, wait, I thought you were innocent.
I'm 37 and I'm blushing, Father. Yeah, it's interesting though. I feel like that right now there's this sense, and maybe this is what happens and it's a cycle. But I feel like that right now, people who are our age or folks who are a little bit younger than us right now are kind of going like, what would happen if we just were consistent in our character all the time? And we didn't try to hide our flaws.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I have hope for them. I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it doesn't get too crazy.
Right.
But I like that people are more free to be themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's nice. Like, cause I don't know. I always feel like there's still a little part of me that feels like I can't fully like embrace myself cause people are going to think something, which is dumb. Cause
isn't that weird?
How
man?
Often does someone really think about you? Probably never at all. Like even with like my business. So like going back to like the hair thing, it's like, I work in a conservative city.
Right.
It's a wealthier city. A lot of older wealthier people live there. Pretty conservative values in that city, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm like the only person at my shop that's like covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
And every time I like want to get a new tattoo, I'm like, something will pop in my head because I'll have some clients say like, well, you're not going to get one on your hand or your neck, right? and,
as long as you can cover them up.
Right. And I'm like, why does that bother me?
I know. And Sierra has tattoos too.
My
right?
wife, yeah, totally. Yeah. But I mean, she's a teacher, so
yeah.
Like for her, she can't really like show them at work yet. I think it's coming.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I'm an artist, so like why does it even matter?
Right.
But I still think like, oh, am I going to offend this person if I like get something tattooed on my neck? And it's like so dumb that I even think like that.
But it is weird. I mean, I struggle with that. Like you're in different environments all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm like tonight I'll be at a club in LA.
Right.
At a show that is say whatever you want, do whatever you want, be whoever you want. And in a couple days I'm going to be at a very conservative event.
Right. Right. It's funny because you're going to be tonight, you'll be like the only person not cursing on stage, you know? Right. So that's got to feel weird in a sense because all the other acts is, you know, they'll curse just like it's part of their act. It's not vulgarity for vulgarity's sake. Like it kind of goes with their shtick.
Right. And it's how they communicate all the time.
Right.
Probably,
exactly.
I have struggled with this. I mean, and people who've listened to this podcast enough know I grew up in the church. I worked at the church for a long time. And now I'm in this weird spot where it's like, okay, I believe this. I don't believe that. I, follow the teachings of Jesus, but I don't go to church on a regular basis. And it's this weird thing of like, we only, whether it's politically or religiously or socially, give people a handful of boxes and we say, jump in one of these so we know how to treat you.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what you're saying with like wanting to do hair and also wanting to do rock and roll. Right. And it's like, why do people think it's you? If you do this, you can't do that.
Yeah. It's just because, like you said, we've just established putting ourselves into these boxes, and I don't know. I kind of like blowing people's mind. Like a lot of people. Like I mean, I grew up in the church and stuff, but if you would look at me on the street,
right, I might be like, "That's the guy I'd ask for a lighter."
What's really and I don't even smoke. What's really funny is like if you see like if you Taylor posts the picture or whatever for the podcast, it's like you probably don't even think this voice matches that picture of that face. So.
You probably think it be.
Yeah, right. You think I sound like Collective Soul? Yeah. But like I'm a goofy, nerdy person. Like we came up in a time where a lot of the bands we listened to, especially like the punk bands in the 90s, were like tattooed and stuff, and I just got like drawn into that culture and style. Right. And like I still love it. And everyone's like, oh, it's a phase you're gonna outgrow. Yeah. But it really isn't. Like, it really is who I am.
Right.
But people find out, like, oh, you go to church? You play on the worship team? Like, what? Like, they let you on stage? Yeah. And so I like blowing people's minds like that, and I hang out with all kinds of people. Like, I don't limit myself, like, oh, I'm only going to hang out with people who don't drink and don't do this.
Right.
But it's taken me a long time to get to that point because I've had so much put on me to where, oh, you have to act a certain way.
And I think
you're representing Jesus.
Right.
And
which is like, to me, is just so ludicrous because it's like, number one, if you believe in Jesus, it's like, well, why would he need your help?
Right.
Like all of a sudden 2,000 years of history and his teachings are going to go down the drain because you chose to have a drink with your meal. It's
exactly.
Like, but I feel like you and I both grew up in a time where we had to struggle with this a lot, of like the expectations put on us by the church or by friends or family or whatever. But also, you and I are naturally people pleasers.
Yes, for sure. I
mean, we both want people to be happy.
Yep. And we'll put that ahead of our own happiness.
Yeah.
Which is so dumb.
And I for years felt guilty doing anything just because I wanted to do it.
Right. It's almost like you feel guilty, like if you're having fun and it's like your enjoyment, like, oh, I just love doing this. But then it's like somehow you like get this guilt, like I probably shouldn't be having this much fun. Like
Right.
Something's wrong.
This life is not supposed to be this good.
Yeah, life can't be fun.
Struggle.
Yeah. You're supposed to take the road less traveled.
Jeez. Oh, dude.
I know.
No, but it's interesting to me. I find it. I think this is part of too. And I don't want to put I keep saying you and I, but like fine. I feel like it's part of why we're friends and we can like not see each other for a couple months and then pick up like nothing ever happened.
Totally.
Because one of the powerful things about music is when you get down to it, we're all the same. We all have the same struggles. We all are wondering the same questions about life and the universe and what's out there. And music is like the common denominator where people can express themselves in a way where they go like, oh, other people can connect with it.
Right.
Like I even think, we were talking about like one generation repressing the other. It's like, this isn't even that current of a song, but you take like Lady Gaga's Born This Way and a bunch of people losing their mind over this song and what this song is communicating. But when you look at it, Born This Way by Lady Gaga is saying the same thing that Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen is saying.
Right.
The same thing that John Lennon was saying with Imagine. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's all just trying to communicate love over hate and acceptance and humanity and what if there's more right now, not someday. Like
yeah. And people don't like to be challenged in their little boxes. So it's like that's like my favorite thing, like at work when like a walk-in comes in and it's like a lady and like I'll be like maybe the person that has time.
Right.
And I walk up and they're like, and then, after doing a consultation and like starting with the haircut, it's like, oh, I thought you were going to be like really scary and mean, And I was just like, no.
Use like a chainsaw to cut my hair.
Yeah. I wish I could be YouTube famous.
I know,
the guy that uses an axe or fire.
A sword. The guy's always like using a sharp sword. I'm like, this is not going to end well.
No.
Like this is fun till it's not.
Right. I just wonder how long it took him to perfect that. And
right. How do you practice that? I don't understand. Like I do a lot of things that take a lot of practice and they go wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And I just think swords by people's heads.
Well, I wonder that when like magic and performers with, when they throw knives at people.
No,
like,
just don't do it. Hey, here's an idea, guys. We don't need to do that.
Yeah. It's like, how do you find an assistant that's willing to stand there while you throw a knife at them?
I have a friend, so Taylor Wong, who was on this podcast. He's the photographer at the Magic Castle. And then Mark James, who was on this podcast recently, is a performer. Mark James taught Taylor last week how to hammer a nail into his face. Like you can literally shove a 6-inch nail into your nose. You don't need anything special.
Yeah.
It's a 6-inch nail. And literally there's a void behind your sinuses and you, with a little bit of practice, could hammer a nail into your head. And I know I've done it before and it scares me to death. And I won't do it because in my mind, I'm just thinking there's stuff back there you shouldn't be messing with.
It could go wrong. What if you sneeze in the process of it?
What if you inhale?
Oh.
Loose nails like rattling around in there. Oh, jeez.
It'd be like Homer Simpson when he had the crayon shoved up his nose and they pull it out and he's smart.
What? Dude, this is really encouraging me.
Good.
Because I feel like people need the freedom to be ourselves in whatever arena we are in.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
And I'm sure you've experienced this, but when you're yourself, which is the best thing you have to offer anybody, when you're yourself in any one of these areas, you'll stand out because you're not trying to fit in.
Right.
If you were trying to cut hair and be like and look like everybody at the shop you work in, you'd be miserable.
Oh, yeah.
And you wouldn't be doing anything special.
No. Yeah.
But now people go, wow, that's cool. Like he's doing his own thing. He's got his own style and he's bringing something to the world that didn't exist before because he's just being himself.
Right. And that's like, I really like take a lot. There's this book that I read by Seth Godin called Purple Cow, which is like, the concept is basically if you were driving down the freeway and you saw a pasture of cows and they were all black and brown, like a normal cow, like, okay, that's cool. But if you drove and you saw a purple cow in the middle of that field, you'd be like, what what the heck?
Yeah.
So like at the shop, like I'm in a conservative area, only person that's super tattooed. I mean, there's girls that have tattoos there, but like the only guy that's like into like rock and roll and like, punk rock and stuff. Everyone else listens to like top 40 for the most part. But like I stand out and I'm able to reach people that maybe the person next to me couldn't.
Right.
And I think that's why it's important to be yourself in your career and your path. And, you know, because you never know like who you're going to meet. And it's kind of like cutting hair is like touring, where you know, touring, you're going to different cities, meeting different people and hearing their stories, and kind of, it kind of expands your mind and your understanding of the world. And you realize, even though we're different, we're not so different in a way, you know? And that's part of the thing I love about cutting hair is meeting people and just hearing their stories, like where they came from and like what they do for a living. I mean, there's so many jobs that I have clients that do that I was like, oh, I guess you have to pay someone to do that.
Yeah,
but I would have
never,
never,
was a thing. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just, you're just learning new stuff. And
I love too that like even now, so like we're recording this on a Sunday. Tomorrow's your last day of barber. You've gone.
I went back to school.
So what's amazing to me is you started off going to cosmetology school and learning how to do hair one way,
right?
And then have picked up all these techniques throughout, you know, from different people and your own style and all that. But now you've decided, okay, I'm going to go to barber college and I'm going to learn how to do straight razor shaves and I'm going to do fades and all this stuff. And I think you had mentioned, wasn't someone talking to you like, okay, now are you going to go work at a barber shop?
Yeah, someone asked me if I was going to work at a barber shop.
This goes back to your purple cow thing.
Right, and I was like, why would I go work at a shop where everybody can do the same thing I can do?
Right.
You know, I'm going to stay at the shop I'm at and, you know, have a service that I can offer that other people can't. Because the nice thing about my shop is, even though we're all different, we all get along so well that like I will not do hair for a wedding or a special event, but one of the girls does. So, I feel comfortable sending my clients to them. Like we've all helped each other out in the areas where we're weak and, you know, or something that we're just not that interested in. So I'm not looking to steal their guy clients, but if we have a guy that comes in and wants a shave, we don't have to be like, oh yeah, you should go to this shop down the street. Like we can keep them in house. Right.
Or even, I mean, like you've got all these ladies who come in to get their hair cut and I'm sure some of them have sons who are like, Mom, I don't want to go to your place. It's all ladies. Like no one's going to, you know, be able to connect with me or whatever.
Exactly.
Like,
I'll have tons
not that a lady couldn't connect with, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
but yeah, I mean, I was raised by a single mom, so I spent lots of time in the salon. Your mom owns, so you know. So it's like, you know, I never went to a barber shop, so I didn't even know that was a thing until it started. I mean, I had made a friend maybe like 15 years ago that's a barber, so he kind of introduced me to that world, but I didn't really know that was a thing until then. And I've always loved like 1950s type stuff and old school things, so just the fact of learning a tradition that's been around forever.
That's so cool.
It's kind of cool, like keeping that tradition alive, and I'm hoping I can inspire maybe some of the girls at my shop to go back to school and learn it, you know?
Yeah. And I think too, even as you're sharing this, I think it's going to inspire people who are listening, and whatever arena you're in, whatever market or whatever type of job you have, number one, keep learning, keep growing.
Yeah, never stop.
And also, how can you be a purple cow in your arena? How can you stand out? I mean, similarly in magic, I've developed relationships with guys who are very, like, drastically different from what I do. And it's like you said, it's not a competition, because I know if they need what I offer, then they're going to come to me. But there's times when I'll get a call for something and I'll go, I mean, I've gotten calls for TV gigs that it would be killer and would be decent money. And I go, nope. And someone comes to mind and I go, you need this guy.
Yeah.
Because when you care about the whole and when you care about the project enough, you say, this is the person that needs to work on that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not all about, I don't know. I think it's hard because I think in today's day and age, a lot of people I think are more out for themselves. Yeah. You know, you got to have the most followers. You got to have, you know, and I was really reluctant to get into the like social media game because I have friends that are very successful in the hair industry and amazing people and amazing artists at what they do. But as soon as they start getting successful on social media, like all this hatred comes towards them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I mean, I don't consider myself up to their standards, which is dumb, but like
Goes back to you and I
right.
being detrimentally humble.
Exactly. Right. But you know, a part of me was like, do I want to try to even like go this route? Even though like that's the way the world's going and that's the business. And going back to school, it made me realize it even more. So I had to start an Instagram reluctantly. But you know, it's just, you get scared because like I saw all the hatred that my friends went through when they were first doing it. But the one guy I'm thinking of, like, he's just a really early adapter. So he did it early on and like crushed it. Yeah. So I think it's a lot of people like, oh, I didn't think of it, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is since I've started it, which wasn't that long ago, I've got nothing but positive comments from people. So that's kind of cool. I'm sure some negative ones will come at some point.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
it's not like I have thousands of followers, but it's growing slowly, which is cool. And I want it to be organic and
right. And you want to provide something that's going to help people.
Yeah. And I want to, you know, I want people to know that I'm there, and hopefully, you know, I can fit someone that maybe like doesn't necessarily want to go to like the barber shop, but they want like a barbering haircut or experience. Cause I know for me, like, especially being raised like with a single mom and going to salons growing up, like a barber shop is like a little bit of a rough kind of atmosphere. Like I feel timid walking into a barber shop.
Oh yeah.
And even when I have gone to a barbershop just to get my haircut, just to kind of like experience like their techniques and their service. Yeah. Like I always like make up like what I do for a living when they ask me because I don't want them to know.
I went to a barbershop here in downtown in Upland, and I had the worst experience, man. It was like cash only, which who carries cash?
Right.
It's 2018. Who's got cash on them?
Seriously.
And they don't tell you until like you're in the chair. Like it's just you. It's one of these things where like everyone knows, but no one tells anybody until you go and find out.
And then like they've already taken the first.
Yeah, like, and like, well, you know, I mean, you cut my hair. Yeah, I don't think twice about it. You just do it, and you do a great job. So like, I one day Shaun was out of town, and I'm notorious. I'm notorious for being like, oh crud, and I'm so overdue for a haircut, and I got a last minute show. I need to get cleaned up. So I go downtown and I get this worst experience, man, because like, it's like you said, it's aggressive. Everyone else is in there. Everyone else, it's kind of like an inside joke. They know what's going on. Right. They're asking me because they don't really use shears. They just use razors. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, what guard do you put on this and this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's a haircut. See this, make this, but less. Like, take 3 weeks off this. How about that?
You should be able to see my face shape and know what's going to look good.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like people want you want to create a place where people can have the experience of the technique, but also a better experience.
Right. Like I want to create like I guess for lack of a better term, like a higher end or a more catered to experience than just like you walk in and you sit. And whenever the next chair opens, you just go over to it. Like that's the one thing I had a hard time. I kept asking my teachers at school at barber college. I was like, why do people just walk in and sit down? Like I didn't know that was a thing.
There's you don't have a relationship with your stylist or with your.
You just go to the local shop and just and sometimes that works great. And I think it's good because they are active in their communities. But I'm trying to go like a step further with, creating relationships. Some of my people that started out as customers have become really good friends of mine that I like go and hang out with. Like, I mean, I've got drug. This is a whole other world, but I've got drug into the world of professional wrestling because of clients. So, I go to wrestling shows with them and have wrestling parties. But that sounds weird coming out.
Want to come to a wrestle party?
Yeah. But we'll have like WrestleMania
and pizza.
And like, it's just a good way to open up my home and, have relationship with people.
See, and that's the thing too, that I think is special about like what you do is your job. You have one-on-one 30, 45, sometimes an hour with a person. Mm-hmm. We don't get, that's why I love podcasts, man.
Yeah.
Like, when do you sit down with someone and just say, we're just going to talk just cause, so you really do get to build a relationship.
Totally. And that's like I love that. Cause some people will be like, why are you into like barbering like isn't the money and doing women's hair. And I'm like, it's not necessarily about the money. It's like, yeah, I need to make money to pay my bills. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like I can have a bigger impact on like the guys sometimes because I can relate more to them and
give them an experience that they don't get always in a barbershop.
Yeah,
where it's
like
just
they're not being rushed out. Like I'll take my time.
Or like everyone's facing a TV, so you're not talking. You're just watching a basketball game.
Exactly.
I wouldn't care less to watch. You know. Yeah. It's good, man. Sean's you just started an Instagram for your hair. Finally, we've been talking about it.
With a little poking and prodding, I finally gave in.
It's called Shaun of the Head.
Yes, and
a little nod to Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, one of my favorite movies, and I'm sure Taylor will put a little link. Like, there's underscores in it and whatnot. So
if you are listening right now, just click on the show notes there. The little picture of Shaun will flip around. It'll be a link, and you can click right there and go
I would
follow
appreciate a follow.
Yeah, give him a follow. And if you're in the Southern California area,
mainly San Gabriel Valley, but Inland Empire. I have people that come from Long Beach, LA. So I mean, I would like to say I'm worth the drive.
He's definitely worth the drive.
I've got people that come from far, which is very flattering. And I've offered to point them into the direction of barbers I know locally to them, but they still want to come see me. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
I want to see them.
It's a whole relationship, like you said. It's not just cutting your hair.
It's all about the person, right? I'm not just trying to like crank out as many haircuts as I can in a day.
Yeah. So go follow Shaun, and we've been talking a lot. I think he's going to start doing some fun stuff too on that account. So you'll want to follow along.
Yes, definitely.
Dude, thank you for taking the time, man.
Yeah, this is fun.
This was long
just rambling about
freaking love it.
About high school and junior high and what dorks we were.
Yep. We're going to go to the, I'm sure Collective Soul is probably still performing on like a cruise ship somewhere. Maybe we could go.
I'm sure they're doing the county fair, tour.
County fair circuit or San Manuel Casino.
Let's come full circle.
Yep. We're going to go right now and look for tickets.
Yes.
See if they're playing with Veruca Assault and we'll get it done. All right, guys, go follow Shaun. Thanks so much for tuning in. And Shaun, thank you again for doing this, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.